It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. Touchdown! This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Former Navy SEAL Mike Ridlin keeps it real on the Mic Drop podcast.
Welcome to the stage, Ben, the Hammer Sledge.
They were always trying to get me to just drop my packet to become an officer, but I just discovered I loved being with the troops on the ground. And so I was like, nah, I don't want to do this. And plus, Sergeant Sledge sounded so much cooler than, Sergeant Sledge sounds like a G.I. Joe character.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mic Drop, raw, unfiltered, intellectually sound. Wherever you listen.
Your next home journey begins at MarylandHomeownership.com. When you're looking to buy a home or sell, education is key, and MarylandHomeownership.com provides the resources you need. Download toolkits in English or Spanish. Search loan programs throughout the state, including the Maryland Mortgage Program. Attend a webinar with industry experts. Learn about the value a realtor can provide and more, all in a sales-free, relaxed setting. Visit today. Your next home journey begins at MarylandHomeownership.com.
Okay, Christina, we're going to do a story now that could possibly impact everybody.
Yes.
This is the potential merger between Albertsons and Kroger. They represent combined about 13% of the grocery market. It seems like many people on the left are worried about this merger because they see a chance for these big corporations to gouge our prices, I guess. They want to price gouge us. That's what this is all about, right?
I guess so.
No.
A hearing, it's the FTC that's attempting to stop this merger. And this is being done in U.S. District Court in Portland, Oregon. And I guess this started Monday, the trial. So the FTC wants to block the deal. They're saying, it's monopoly stuff, even though, according to them, it's 13% of the market. And if you want to talk about people with bigger shares and things, maybe we should all go look at Walmart, because Walmart, wowza.
Well, Costco, Walmart,
Target,
Amazon, delivery, they have a large share of this market. We do have some help on this. We have Pete Sepp, who is the president of the National Taxpayers Union, and he's here to help us get through this topic. Pete, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Now, it seems to me that part of the argument here is, between why do we have inflation? I mean, is this, to me, we have inflation because of government policies, not because I'm being gouged. I don't know if you and I are on the same side on that, but what do you think?
Well, yes, in many cases, government is responsible, if not for causing inflation, then certainly continuing inflation, piling on to inflation, starting with the CARES Act of 2020, which President Trump signed into law, but really ramping up under the American Rescue Plan Act and the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. The federal government piled on spending after spending program, and we wound up with a lot of money chasing very few goods and services, and that definitely, I think, added to inflation. Some say as many as 3 percentage points on the rate at one juncture in the process of our economy. That's a really big indictment of federal policy right off the bat. You add things like federal policies that have constrained energy supplies and made gasoline, diesel, electricity more expensive. All of those things go into food production and transport and retailing at grocery stores. These are all consequences of government policies that we often overlook. And instead, the federal government wants to deflect blame and say, well, it's a big company that wants to merge with another big company and is going to monopolize a market and charge consumers even higher prices. Well, it hasn't happened yet in the grocery industry. In fact, their profit margin is a little more than 1% right now. The average for the whole economy, about 8.5%. So the food industry is not making a lot of money as is. Would there be an instance of a store or two gouging customers? You can always find one. But as far as the industry is concerned, No way. So that's one strike against Federal Trade Commission for saying that this merger between Kroger and Albertsons is going to boost prices. If anything, it's going to lower prices. As you pointed out, even merged together, Kroger and Albertson would have a 13% U.S. market share compared to Costco's at 22%. And you've got all kinds of other people in the space, retailers in the space, ranging from Amazon to Aldi to Lidl to Target. As you say, this is a highly vibrant market right now, and traditional grocery stores are in decline. If we want to see traditional grocery stores survive, we need to allow them to combine their best assets, their best people, their best supply chains, their best product and value combination to compete with the Costco's and the Walmarts of the world.
So, Pete, let me ask you then, if it's not any of those things, what is this really about?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. If Kroger has already pledged to reduce prices in a merger with Albertson, and their CEO said this on the stand, so he can be held to that promise legally, if this would not create a monopoly or even a dominant market share, I think part of it, again, is the government trying to deflect blame for some of the inflationary problems. There's also a concern that unionized workers might lose out here. But even there, you have the instance of Kroger being one of the strongest unionized private sector employers in the entire United States, providing really generous benefit packages that Albertsons employees are going to be offered and will take advantage of. Costco workers and Walmart workers are far less unionized than Kroger's workers. So even there, you don't have a case to be made against this merger.
Hey, let me ask you about this promise from the Kroger CEO to reduce prices. Now, he says he will reduce prices $1 billion. I don't even know what that means. But when you get into that price game with the government, are they now going to be monitoring profits and prices on every product in a store? How does that work?
Yeah, they certainly can do that. In fact, the Federal Trade Commission and its partner in many of these cases, the Department of Justice, have reversed mergers in other parts of the economy after monitoring the post-merger activity and saying, wait a minute, you promised on the stand in a trial that you would do X, Y, and Z. You only did X. You didn't do Y and Z, so you have to break up again. It has happened, and it could happen here. I mean, many people would call that a safeguard. I'm sure Kroger and Albertsons would rather not have that sword dangling over their heads and would like to just do business and serve customers, but it's there. And for skeptics who say the deal might not help consumers, they ought to take a look at that and reassure themselves that the federal government can always step in and create another remedy.
Let me ask you this, because they're Kroger and Albertsons is trying to make the case that they need to merge to lower prices.
To survive.
Yeah, and the FTC is making the case that the merger will lead to higher prices. How do we figure this out?
I think some of the best proof would be in examining historical mergers in other areas of the economy, like telecom, manufacturing, as well as denied mergers and takeovers. This just happened in Massachusetts, where a manufacturer of those robotic vacuums, those little things that you can let loose around your house to do the cleaning while you do something else, Amazon was denied a purchase of that company. And because of that, the company said, we needed to scale up our supply chain quality and our technology. We can't do that now. Amazon was going to offer us that. We're going out of business. That cost several hundred jobs. That's the kind of thing that could be at stake, multiplied by a factor of 100 here, even 1,000, because the number of employees under Kroger and Albertsons is in the hundreds of thousands. What's going to happen if they can't combine their supply chains, their loyal customer bases, their workforces, and they're no longer able to compete with Costco or Amazon or Lidl or Aldi or Target? And they have no choice but to start laying off workers, scaling back their businesses, closing stores. That has happened in other merger situations where the companies wanted to combine but were denied.
We're talking with Pete Sepp. He's president of the National Taxpayers Union. We're talking about the merger, the proposed merger between Kroger and Albertsons, which the FTC has taken them to court over and wants to stop this. Let me ask you, Pete, you said at some point along during our conversation here that, people's food and shopping habits have changed. It's the Walmarts, the Targets, the Costcos of the world that are really kind of dominating this sector. What has changed in our food shopping habits?
I think the internet has played a major role in how people shop. Also, the emergence of these club stores like Sam's Club or whatever you want to call them, but also the fact that people are busier these days and combine shopping trips with other activities. I mean, I do this myself. I'll order a bunch of staple goods from Aldi or Lidl, have them delivered to my house. And then if I happen to be out driving to and from the metro station from work, I'll pop in the Safeway or some other place to get my produce. This kind of combined shopping seems to elude the Federal Trade Commission. They're claiming that this is a competition problem by defining the market in their own way, in a way really that doesn't reflect reality. They're saying everybody should be able to go to one grocery store and get everything they want all at once for the lowest possible prices. Well, that's a nice sentiment, but that's not what people do anymore. They combine their shopping experiences in all kinds of ways to get the combination of value and price that they want. The Federal Trade Commission seems to believe that the federal government can restructure that market in a way that suits them. And I've seen this across a number of antitrust cases. They're doing it with Amazon right now, where they're saying, among online-only retail giants, Amazon has a dominant share. Well, sure it does, but there are plenty of other places called click and mortar, like Target or Walmart, where you've got physical stores and online shopping. They're providing plenty of competition. So, these are the things that government regulators need to appreciate more often, that however they want to think of our economy, they need to take a look at what's reality.
I'm just trying to wonder about what is the likely outcome here. Do you have a feel for that? And if this is denied, is it like this or that? Either you get it or you don't. Is there some gray area? And if it is denied, what happens to these companies who seem to think they need to merge to survive?
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a pretty long legal battle. Right now, the federal district court in Oregon is hearing a motion from the federal government to immediately block the merger and hold the entire thing. Now, that ruling will come in a few weeks, and whether the federal government wins or not, the actual proceedings over the merits of the merger are going to continue. If the federal government wins the injunction, then Kroger already has a lawsuit saying that the Federal Trade Commission's own administrative court is unconstitutional. We'll get to hear the merits of that suit. Then, as you say, there could be some kind of settlement where Kroger and Albertsons agree to even more concessions than they've already made, maybe spin off more stores to a third company, maybe make more promises for employee benefits and pay. So this is a very fluid situation, even though it seems pretty cut and dry in favor of going ahead with the merger. I think that the longer we wait, the greater the risk is that these companies are going to become less viable, and they're going to have to make tough decisions being two separate firms and facing severe competitive threats from other types of retailers.
Pete, thanks so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll be a pleasure to be on again.
Great. We're going to keep an eye on this one. This is the merger of Kroger and Albertsons. For us here in Fresno, at least, that's Foods Co. and Vons. And that was Pete Sepp, president of the National Taxpayers Union.
Amplify your career through training and development solutions specifically designed for federal government professionals. From courses to help you attain or retain certification, to individualized coaching services, to programs that hone your leadership skills and business acumen, Management Concepts optimizes your professional development. Online, in person, individually, or groups, it's training that's measurably better. Learn more at managementconcepts.com. That's managementconcepts.com.